know if any of you have experienced this, but for me, sometimes December is a hard month. Not a good friend of mine loves December, and we had a conversation about this yesterday, and her hard month is January. But we're all different, and for me, it's December, and I only noticed this after I started practicing mindfulness. A couple years after I started my practice, and it starts, I can't do my sitting meditation. I'm too agitated. So I basically lie in bed in the mornings and try to meditate then, or I go for a walk. And I'm sure it's the shorter days. Christmas is always a mixed bag. You have masses of people doing retail therapy, which that doesn't please me for some reason. But so the antidote for contending with the difficulties when you find things are difficult is to have some compassion for yourself, right? Self-compassion. And Thich Nhat Hanh, the Zen Buddhist master, has a wonderful teaching where he teaches that we can say to ourselves, "Darling, I'm here for you. Darling, I'm here for you." I love that. Sometimes I even put my hand on my heart or on my shoulder. Yeah, it's hard. I'm here for you. What do you need? In a practical manner, though, for me, for December, this means turning inwards and recharging. So I typically say no to things that I usually enjoy. So meeting with friends, I love to meet with friends and go to gatherings, but I don't, because I've at this point realized that I need to spend time recharging and not watching people do their retail therapy. So I go forest bathing a lot. Do you guys know about forest bathing? It's a Japanese practice. It's called, what's the Japanese word? Something like Shinrin Yoku, something like that. Anyway, an analysis in clinical psychology by researchers for us defines compassion as follows. It's a 5-part definition. We propose that compassion consists of 5 elements. 1, recognizing suffering. 2, understanding the universality of suffering. 3, feeling for the person suffering. 4, tolerating uncomfortable feelings. And 5, motivation to act to alleviate suffering. Motivation to act to alleviate suffering. So it's this spectrum from recognizing that something feels bad for you or others, all the way up to maybe making a motion towards alleviating that. Which sounds very Buddhist, right? It sounds very Buddhist, all this talk about suffering from these clinical psychologists. So the Buddhists consider compassion to be one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, the 4 divine abodes. Brahma is divine, Vihara is abode or house. So compassion is one of the 4 heavenly places that you can exist within yourself. It's a state of existence. The 4 Brahmaviharas are metta, which we have done and we enjoy doing a lot, loving kindness, compassion, karuna, compassion. 3rd is mudita, which is sympathetic joy. That's feeling joy for the happiness of others. And upeksha, which is equanimity. So according to the Buddhist teachings, this compassion, this state of mind is it's something that can be cultivated. It's like a seed in the garden of your mind that we can cultivate. So, and you notice in our meditation that you can cultivate compassion for self and for others. We can have those 2 buckets, which is something I want to talk about because I feel very, very strongly about this. If you don't have true compassion for yourself, you can't really have compassion for others. Meaning, like, if you don't know how to slow down or to be mindful of your experience, to take care of your own inner needs, you can't really show up for other people. You can show up, your body will be there, maybe you'll have a smile on your face, but you won't be there in your heart. You won't be there in a way that's actually helpful. So this smile that's on your face towards others has to radiate inwards towards yourself. If you're doing outwards and not inwards, it's like half compassion. And it might have some benefit. It's not bad, of course, but you'll pay a price for it. You probably know that kind of person, this person who always says yes and agrees when they're asked to help out. They're so kind, but you can sort of sense their exhaustion or a little bit of exasperation underneath. I have an acquaintance who does this. She's a delightful person, and she's always volunteering to help. And she basically says yes to the external world without ever checking in with her inner world. So, she and her family really suffer for this. She's often overloaded. The family, they don't really get her to themselves because she's usually sort of preoccupied with the long to-do list. And she's really rarely relaxed, I would say. So at what cost? She's doing these compassionate things for the world, but she's not practicing compassion to the most important person in her life, which is herself. And so then the next most important people in her life, her nearest and dearest, they suffer, and she suffers. The first noble truth, Buddha's classic teaching, is to say yes. It's a different kind of yes, though, than the one that she's always saying yes to, right? The first noble truth says, yes, there is suffering. Don't turn away from it, especially your own. Especially your own. The first noble truth says that emotional and physical pain is a natural and inherent part of life. And there's so much to be learned from our pain and suffering. It sounds so odd, but it's the only gateway to our own enlightenment, I guess you could say. Like our own wisdom exists when it comes up when we are going through difficult things. When life is easy, you don't have to grow. You sail. So not that we don't want to make life easy when we can. But inevitably, when the difficult things come, we have a great opportunity for insight and wisdom. So we say yes to our pain and suffering. And the beautiful thing is, when you can actually embrace what's actually going on, your compassion towards yourself just naturally flows out. It just naturally comes out. And when we say yes to our own difficulties and we can take care of them, we naturally can open up our heart to others. Meaning, it sounds cliche perhaps, but self-compassion is primary. It's more important. It's most important. Some examples, for instance, we all have different things that make us upset, right? I for instance, get very upset when I hear or see things in the climate. Climate change is very upsetting for me. Clear cutting of trees or pollution or storms. And I used to suffer so much. I'd be like, this can't be true. People are so ignorant. Why do people do, these things? I just felt so helpless. But now I can say, yes, I feel very upset, but okay, what do I need? What do I need for this? This movement from no to yes, this is the foundation. This is the beginning of true compassion. So, for instance, imagine somebody is having a difficult reaction to you. Maybe they don't want to interact with you. That's one that really hurts, right? Anyone would feel upset by that. And so an instinct is to say, I'm going to be strong and I'm not going to let this bother me. I shouldn't worry what people think about me. It's a very common thought. And it's also foolish, because thinking that you should feel any other way than the way you're actually feeling, it's not only a denial of your own reality, you're being mean to yourself. Thinking that you shouldn't feel bad about something lacks compassion. Doing the opposite, accepting that you feel bad about it, that is compassion. Yes, I feel very hurt that he doesn't like me. He doesn't want to be with me. And you don't need to do something to make him or her like you, or you don't need to wallow in it, but you need to honor it. Most people, when something feels bad, they distract themselves so quickly they don't even know what's going on, right? When we're not practicing mindfulness and we're just going, you go eat something, you go turn on the television, you go get busy on some projects. That's what we do. It's an instinct, but when you distract yourself like that, you miss out on this amazing opportunity to know yourself better, and to be kind to yourself. There's an opportunity to offer some deep compassion, only when you let it in, though. Darling, I'm here for you. That feels so good. I'm hurting. Yeah, I'm here for you. So when you open to what is, especially when it's difficult, you heal. Yeah, this is terrible. I'm hurt. I'm sad. But you can tend to yourself. You can hold yourself with tenderness. So first, of course, you have to have established your mindfulness. So when you wake up in the morning, you recognize that there are 24 hours in this day to move around in mindfulness, to practice. The only way to know that December is difficult for me is that I've been practicing and noticing and taking the input. Oh yeah, okay. Need some extra distraction, extra compassion. Extra distraction, that was a Freudian slip, yeah. And maybe some of both, really. So compassion is a work that's born out of our daily mindfulness.